Welcome to the Internet of Sovereignty. Welcome to Pangea.
So bitnation is basically a peer-to-peer network to provide governance services in a decentralized, borderless and voluntary way. So what we do is we create a mesh network to allow people to communicate, and while they communicate, they create contracts. And these contracts can be legally solved without having to go to government courts or without having to do business with black market. You can do them legally through a blockchain jurisdiction. This is what we do. We offer blockchain as a jurisdiction. And people can create their own virtual nations. They can create different services that maybe not be provided by the existing governance, nation-state governments. And much more. They can even claim back their sovereignty and create new nations that haven't existed before. So they can build online collectives and can represent their voice through the blockchain. Like 3 years ago, Susan Terkovsky-Tempelhoff was starting it all up. She has seen herself working for the US military and the NATO, how things are going wrong in the world. And she had an incentive to create a new model that allows people to opt out and to basically stop using this existing monopolist governance service, and to give people the option not only to raise their voice but to take action. And that's the very important part, to not wait for others to give you permission, but the blockchain is permissionless. You go ahead yourself and create code that actually creates a new paradigm. So the history is that people are tired of the system and they want something new. And bitnation is giving them exactly this chance to take action and to live their life the way they wanted to. At the very beginning, it was just a few. Suzanne was investing her private fortune all into keeping bitnation alive. In the very beginning, it was like spikes. So whenever we were doing, for example, a bitnation refugee emergence response, there were more people contributing because the crisis with refugees was just breaking out. Or whenever we, for example, had the program with Estonia, more people were interested and were contributing more. It was like waves. So and sometimes there was almost no contributions, and other times there was lots of contributions. So it was not a very constant project. And now we're moving from being such an, let's say, inconstant project. We want to raise more interest by having constant performance and to actually be able to employ people to work on this vision that they want to see in their lifetime. I think basically you just have to be aware that government services is just like any other service. So just the way that you receive your unemployment insurance, your, I don't know, the streets, the roads, all of the things that governments provide, that it's just the same way that other services are provided also on the markets. So you just have to realize that, for example, imagine that in one country governments was providing shoes, and then out of nowhere the government doesn't provide shoes anymore. And how do people still have shoes? This is like the magic where you realize that things can be provided because people want things. So the desire for these actual services will make them offer the best kind of services while competing to offer these services. And that these things are not some magic bricks, you know, that only the government knows how to do. No, the same people that do these services can still do them, but in a different organization, in a different way of distributing the resources. I would say it's a mix of many influences. So of course we have the hardcore anarchists who believe into creating something outside of the system, but then we also have people who want to have a more globalized world, who want to have even world government or something like that, and then maybe on the way they realize that it's better not to have one big government but to have like many different governments to express this globalized culture. And then we have hackers and people who just want to do things in an anonymous way, or even digital nomads who just don't live in one place anymore but still want to use the same good governance services everywhere they go. So ideally in the future, just as I think 1/7 of the human population is already using Facebook, just the same amount of people could be using BitNation to do business, to show their identity, to access governance services in general. And the idea is that in your everyday life, every time you go into a specific environment, it will have maybe their own set of laws that could be voluntarily set by the owners of this place, and that you could have TAZs, which is temporary autonomous zones. So BitNation enables people to create their own legal environment when they need it, and to have people who consent to it to do things the way they want to, and not to have a one-size-fits-all model where in just one big geographic territory all people have to live by the same sets of rules. With BitNation you can have competing rules. This is something that, before you would have to just accept that the rules are like this in the place where you were born. And now you can think about it, and you can choose from different rules and judge them if they are good or not. If you just want to inform yourself about BitNation, the best thing you can do is to just go on our website. But of course, if you want to know how to contribute, I think the best way you can get started is to use our Pangea Docs contribution guide on GitHub. So yes, you can either contribute by programming, by writing code, or you can represent us at local meetups, or help us to translate things, or simply spread the idea through word of mouth, and get more people involved.